So I thought this would be a fun one because everyone throws what's a high value woman and I'm the prize. And I mean, that's cool, but we're not on the same level. So, you can have a woman here next to me and like we both have value, but it's not the same value, right? And I'm going to get treated a certain way and she won't. And that's because you being the prize, you being the table. What does that mean? Because there's different tables. There's cheap tables, there's picnic tables, there's elegant dining room tables, right? So we are the table, but what kind of table are you, right? Are you a rustic table? Are you a farmer's table? Are you a warm, homey table? Are you a nurturing table? Are you an elegant table? Are you eclectic? What kind of table are you? And so we're all the prize, we're not all the same prize, right? Some of you might be a clown prize. Some of you might be like, a vacation to France type of prize, right? And some of you other ones. So I really want to talk about this because it does go into, and I'm going to say the value, I have a lot of different value that I bring. But my biggest value that really gets people to like, so I have a degree, I make money, I have my own home. Other women have that. That's not what makes men fall in love with me. And they do. And I don't say that lightly. No, I'm not the prettiest girl. They've all dated way more attractive women. I'm attractive. I'm not the most attractive, right? It's different. But that's not it. It's not necessarily the money. Although people think about that. Guys do care. Poor guys care because they're like, ooh, she's good. And guys with money care because they're like, ooh, she can add to me. So they do care. Don't even get it twisted that they don't. But I want to say first what a high value woman gets and why I'm saying I am high value. A high well, and once you start seeing and recognizing, you see like we all are the table and we all are the prizes, but we're different types of prizes. And I think that's the conversation that gets lost. And the men are very aware that you're all different types of prizes. And they're looking at you saying I'm the prize. And you're like, bullshit. Like, what I mean, it's a prize, but what kind, right? Like, are you bringing X and X? And I'm not bringing anything, I'm being something. So let me first say about when you're a high value woman, what you receive in society. When you're a high value woman, you can go somewhere and not know anyone and you will leave with friends. And not fake friends, but like after a while, you'll get invited to birthday parties and special dinners or Thanksgiving dinner, like I was. So if you go someplace and you meet, you leave, and you never get that. So that's what a high value person is. It's someone that when they go to a place, people will want to bring them back home with them. They'll want to invite them into their friend group, want to invite them in their circle. And that can be really hard as an adult. So for that to happen, you really got to understand this is pretty significant. They'll want to invite you over for dinner, right? I do dinner dates. And it's cool. Like if you're in a more social area, like that's common. But I'm just saying this as a woman. So this is without any man. What do you get? If you're a high value woman, you get stuff for free. If you're as you being in a certain place, that happens. What else happens when you're a high value woman? Men fall in love with you. So if you're, if you notice that men generally fall in love with you and you're just like, oh wow, like I love you too, but not the same way. That's a high value woman. So these are some of like the hallmarkers. So if this happens to you a lot, that's a high value woman. But I don't want to go into that to make you feel any certain way, because if that doesn't happen to you, it doesn't mean that you don't have value. But I wanted to give my definition of what makes me higher value than I was 2 years ago. I am a higher value woman today than I was 3 years ago. And I'm a higher value woman today than I was 10 years ago. Okay? Did you hear me? I'm telling you, I see the difference in how I'm received, how people react to me, what I can get, and why they would want to do it. Okay? So I am more high value today than I was 3 years ago, and I'm more high value than I was 10 years ago. So even though I was 10 years younger, my body was firmer, that was pre-baby, right? Even though that's all true, I am higher value today because the work and kind of table I put into myself than where I was 10 years ago. My access to different people is higher today than it was 10 years ago. My access to high value, what I call high value men in society, is much higher. My entree to different groups that I've been invited to that are invite only is a lot higher today than it was 10 years ago, even though I was prettier, even though I was 15 pounds lighter and post baby, so no, no marks or anything, no little, no little souvenirs, which I have no problem with. And so, what I'm trying to say is that, gosh. So what I'm trying to say is that, yes, even though I am older, I have more value, and the men I'm attracting, I'm getting asked out more. I'm getting asked for proposed for marriage more. I'm more high value than I am today than I was before, and I just really want to go into that. So what makes me high value? And I come from, and is the work I've done spiritually and my work in my divine feminine energy that's done it. So when I go on a date with a new guy, pretty much by the end of the night, I mean, they're going to like Lisa, but why? What kind of table am I? I didn't tell them how much money I made. I didn't tell them how many rental properties I had. I didn't tell them how much I make in passive income. I didn't tell them how many books. They don't know anything about that. They do know they really, really enjoy me. So what did I bring? And it all goes back to the feminine energy. It's something I really had to learn to express more of, because you can slide in and out. And I've learned to really sit in it because it's really fun and juicy. I'll come out of it when I need to get things done, and I'll go back to it. And this is what they get. I am accepting. I am a listener. I am emotionally intelligent. Some of these guys that I'm dating, they have pasts that are pretty messed up, pretty fucked up pasts. I'm just like, oh my God, that happened too. Like it's like I mean, when you're 20, we don't have the baggage. When you're 40, not only do they have baggage, but they wear it around. Like the guys I date, I mean, they tell you everything. What happened in their last marriage? If they've gone to rehab, if they're in sobriety. I mean, they tell you everything. And at 40, they have more baggage than they did at 20. Because when I talked to men in my 20s, it wasn't like this. So definitely, they're bringing a lot of baggage, and so it's very interesting because I do have more of a non-judgmental, accepting way. And I'm accepting doesn't mean I'm going to end up eventually with them, but I am accepting. So they tell me these stories about the sobriety or this or previous felony, and I know this sounds crazy that I'm with dust buckets, but I'm really not. I'm just with men who they have past, right? And they're still good people. I'm still, do not worry about me. I'm not like y'all. I've been cutting people off my entire life. So it's not even that I put up with BS. I live a stress-free life because I will cut you off in a second. But because I'm more accepting, I can listen, but also weigh, who are they now? So that did happen in the past. What am I seeing now? Am I seeing hard work? Am I seeing a good work ethic? Am I seeing discipline? Am I seeing them taking charge of their life? Am I seeing self-care? Am I seeing self-ownership? So they're telling me these things. I'm like, okay. And they're like, wow, when I told other people this, like the date ended immediately. And you can say, like I said, do not think I put up with dust buckets. I don't. However, because I'm more accepting, I can be like, I can see that's your past. Doesn't mean I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to cut you off when your actions and everything else, so ends up with in a certain way. But I can sort of accept that this is a flawed individual and it didn't stop everything. There's other things that will stop if we're not compatible, if you're lazy, if you're effeminate. That'll stop me. You having a past and have done some dumb shit that you've taken ownership of, like, and I'm looking, are you taking ownership? Do you live this life? Are you still going back? Are you still around the same friends? And you can say all that. You can ask those questions. And I'm intuitive, so I know. And the guys that I'm ending up with, all of them were like, yeah, I did it. I'm not like that. I learned. I'm on another level. I don't have the same people. I don't do the same things. That's a different person. And I can see that. So with other people, you definitely have your pros and cons, but it's just interesting. I'm just really accepting. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to marry you. Doesn't mean anything's going to happen. Doesn't mean we're going to get a second date. Doesn't mean any of that. However, it does mean I'm not going to judge you based on that incident unless it's particularly egregious. And I'm going to take them for their actions, how they are, and what I know, because I know what a good character person is. I know what good actions are. I don't care about your words. I know what that is. A lot of you, some of us just don't have experience being measuring people because you haven't been doing it your whole life. I've been, and so acceptance, that makes me valuable. And half the people are just like, wow, listen. And I've had women leave, and I understand if they do. But you listen, and I like that. And you also saw that I was also doing this and this to sort of be a better person than I was. So acceptance is more of a feminine energy thing where it's not just so like, oh, I do have my strict non-negotiables that are masculine. Like, you gotta want kids, you gotta want that, you can't be back. You guys know my thing. You can't be this. You gotta, So if I'm talking about marriage, so I was just talking about this guy, this new guy that he likes me and I like him. So, and he makes money, so good. We're on the same thing. I'm talking about marriage, and he's like, wow, and he said something about, oh, are we talking marriage already? I was like, all right, does that make you uncomfortable? Because I know if a guy really likes you, that's not an uncomfortable situation. If they're on that game, they're on it. He's like, no, I'm cool with it. I just thought, but da 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 da. He said why, he did. We're just talking about it, and but like, what I wanted to say is that my high valueness doesn't come with anything that I've earned as far as an asset or a physical thing. It's all in what kind of environment and space do you make for people to be around? Do you make a space and environment when you come into a room where people want to be your friend, where people want to extend grace to you? Do you make an environment just you being who you are with acceptance? For me, it's acceptance, it's emotional intelligence, it's non-judgment, it's safe, it's power, because they know I can come out of it like that and do what I need to do. I make it very clear and very strong. Like, I'm being my feminine energy, but that doesn't mean weakness. It means that you allow grace for other people. I actively listen. So, they're going on and I can play along in their world, play along in their story versus having to control the story. And at the end of the night, people around me, men and women, feel good. That's high value. That's someone who, gets invited to parties and others don't. That's one who's, if you bring a woman around, it might be an office party, but you bring her around, you're going to get the promotion because she's able to, with that energy she brings, that lack of judgment, but still fun and playful, but still giving, but still nurturing, but allowing them to be the best person, not judging, so they have their sense of stress goes down. Understand that this means that they're still not a pushover, because you can show that in your actions and your firm boundaries. Everyone knows I'm not a pushover because I'm very strict and I follow up and I don't let things slide. So the guy when I was talking about marriage, and I'm like, oh, are you uncomfortable? I was asking if he's uncomfortable, and my energy says this, let alone my actions and my words. Because I'm like, if you're uncomfortable, we're not compatible. I'm not forcing anything on anybody. I'm choosing. I'm not forcing you into anything. If you're not comfortable with this, well, I know men who are serious about marriage, they do talk about this very early. Like, it's part of the early conversations, first, second, third dates. You're talking about what a future marriage would look like. Like, and a lot of women who haven't been married, they don't know what to look for. But like, you don't have to go long at all before they're talking about it. If they're serious, yeah, that's a conversation, and talking about your values and what it would look like and how it would look. But I followed up on it, and he made it very clear to this guy, like, oh yeah, we're cool, we can talk about it. It's just this one thing. And I was like, it's not like so easy to do X and X. And I'm like, oh, okay, got it. But all of those things, that emotional intelligence, all of that makes you a high value. So then it has nothing to do, like, do any of these men who asked me to marry know that I'm an electrical engineer? Like, one does, the others don't. Like, they don't know the talents I bring in that regard. But that's not why they like being around me. They like it because I let them speak. I have fun with what they want to talk about versus trying to steer the conversation towards me. And now I do talk about me, but they have ample opportunity for me to actively just sit and listen and have fun with what their world is and what there is. And so it's just sort of funny, there's, I am the prize, I am the table, but it's like, what kind of prize are you, right? I'm non-reactionary. So they tell me things, do I immediately judge and go, I hate all of you guys? Or, they're telling me stories, or like, oh, this girl met me and she's like, oh, are you Irish? I hate Irish people. They're like, so you hate all Irish people? You're just going to tell me that off the bat? Just not being non-reactionary, having some class, like all of these things play into when, you being a high value woman. So yes, we're all the prize, but it's what kind of prize are you? And that goes into your development. I developed myself spiritually. I developed emotional intelligence. If you look at my playlist now, it's about shadow work, and it's about acceptance and love. It's also about like being in a good relationship. So I'm learning these skills to be a valuable person where I can maintain this. So yes, we can have two women here, but we're two different types of tables. I will be very honest. Right now, my table is a nice long table, and it has flowers in the middle and a runner, and it has very simple tablescaping, and like the dishes and the software on the side. It's an older than wood, but like it's elegant, right? But it's not ostentatious. That's the table I bring. That's the energy that I am. So yeah, we're all the prize, but I'm that type of prize. I'm the kind of prize that can go in a castle or can go in a nice house or a nice dining room, a big house, right? But other people are the type of prize where like you're really only good to be a picnic table because that, I mean, I can't bring you inside. I hate to be mean like this, but it's true. We're not all the same type of tables, okay? I have tablescaping, right? I have a white linen, white lace and linen table cloth, right? Like we're different types. I have real silverware on my table, right? And you're like, you know, I'm really like, wow, I'm really the kind of picnic table with like paper plates, because that's, you know, that's where I'm at right now, and plastic spoons and cutlery, which is fine. You know, when I was younger, I was more of a paper plate girl. You know, I wasn't really into the elegance and this and that. I was like in functionality. We throw it away. It's really easy to clean and that. But that's just not where I'm at now. I'm trying to go somewhere. I have roots, I have goals. I'm entrenched. So the type of table I bring is someone who's working on that. And in order to get to the goals that I have, you have to do the work. You don't just show up and you're, I don't say this lightly, but like, carpooling with, meeting a colonel for lunch, when our kids are at school, or carpooling with the professor at the local university, or, you know what I mean? Like, you don't just show up, you have to work for that. And so that's the kind of table I am, because that work is one in it. I am a firm, grounded table that can be in a dining room or a castle, right? That's the work I did because of the goals. So when we were talking about on the prize, okay, women are the prize. What kind of prize are you? What kind of work have you done on yourself to be the kind of person where when men or women are around you, they genuinely love your presence there, right? And some of us have this naturally, and some of us have to work at it. They liked my presence before because I was just a fun person, but they love my presence now. And they like is like, I was always fun to go to a party with, right? Give me a drink, we're having fun, we're making jokes, like, not gonna cause an issue. She gets to know a lot of people. Like, I was always liked, but now it's love. And that's because I give people their time, their moment. I have a higher perspective. So when we talk, I can go a little deeper perspective and aspect. Most of that's because of my spiritual intelligence, but emotional intelligence, right? So they're having issues and they're like, oh, wow, you just gave me a little bit of advice, like a perspective I just didn't see, that maybe it's this and I can do this, because of that work, you brought that. So yeah, that's, for me, a high value woman represents that. And I've seen other women who are that. Now, if you do the extra and really dip into your femininity on top of that energetic and emotional intelligence and acceptance and non-judgment, not being reactionary, meaning some guy, so he was at my house cooking and he did something that was irritating. I think he put coffee grounds in my sink. And I just went to him because I'm like, I'm sure I can just tell him and he'll do whatever and he'll fix it. Because I'm calm. I'm not reactionary. And I just go, hey, you just did it here. Next time, just put it in the garbage, okay? I'm not mad. Just next time, don't do that. He's like, okay. And he's like, oh my God, my last girlfriend, I put something on the counter and she threw the freaking spoon at me and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I don't do that. I'm sure if I tell you what I need or why I need it, you're going to do what you need to do, right? Because I've already done the work to vet the person. And so I don't need to be reactionary. I already know what kind of person they are. And it's just a different energy. The rest 10 years ago, I might have done this because I'm getting irritated. Like, how don't you not know to put a dirty spoon on the counter, right? So it's just a different energy. And men recognize that I am this table versus another type of table where it could have gotten a lot serious because they have the stories. And now we're getting into why a man would want to date with you and continue to date you and talk to you about marriage. And all of that goes into that divine feminine energy. So this is what I feel makes me high value. And I haven't even gotten to money or assets, which I do bring. I do bring prestige. I do have access and network. I can talk to different investors because of what I've done. Like, I do have access and social influence. But we don't even get to that. It's literally you just being an emotionally intelligent, feminine energy. And then on top of that, if you want to go physically feminine, where you wear the dresses and you dress up and you look nice and you smell delicious, which I do because my nose is very keen, so I get like the best perfumes. So like, I don't know, it's like I have a real sharp sense of smell. And like all of that just makes this like little heavenly bubble that you create anytime someone's with you. That when I go out, like I know if a guy's compatible with me and they go out, like they're going to want to keep going out with me. They're not getting this anywhere else. I know what I bring. I know what kind of table, like we are the table. Okay, I know what kind of table I am. And they recognize what kind of table I am. And using the words, and I don't say this lightly, even if they're new, calling me queen or goddess is very soon in the relationship because that's the energy I bring, that goddess energy, that queen energy. It's not something you fake, you are. What is a queen? For me, a queen is a leader, a nurturer. She can be very fierce and very protective and get shit done. But she can also pull back and allow everyone else to grow and thrive. That's what it means, queen energy to me. That is what I do. I can be very harsh, but I can also be very accommodating and forgiving. And depending on your energy, depends on what you're going to get. People can see that. They see I don't play, but they also see I can be very soft and allow. That's very feminine energy. I allow them to be big in my presence. They also know I can take that away. That's a queen energy, right? Everyone understands that this can happen when I walk into a room. That's just not something you make. So that's the kind of high value woman I am. That is what made me high value. All that work. And I just want to put a perspective because we really need to get over it because some of y'all, you're saying you're the prize, but you're not like me. You do yell. You do scream. You don't trust them to be men. You do emasculate them. Some of you, not all. Some of you can't take a compliment. You don't think you're deserving. You're not the same kind of table as I am. You're not the same kind of prize. You are a prize, but you're not the same. And I'm, so for men who've really done their work emotionally and intelligently through their healing, they recognize what they get here. They recognize that I've done that work and I'm not reactionary. I'm not just going to yell. That I do trust them. That I will tell them exactly what needs to be done very directly. It's funny. The more queen I get, the more blunt you get. Like, it's okay to be blunt. Like, I tell them, are you okay with this? Are you not? Do you okay? And I don't know, maybe they can read me because they know the next follow-up is just like, oh, we're not compatible. Bye. Like, they know it. So I'm very blunt. And so they can tell that the boundaries are there, that I'm not playing around, but anyone who goes, and so there's different types of archetypes, right? And I just really embody the queen one really well. And that's a leader, an influencer, someone who I do my own thing, but there are people who follow because I've created a very safe path for them to follow, right? So you don't have to do everything I do, but I'm making it very safe for people in my real estate or people in my spirituality. I'm making it as a very safe path. I'm trying a very safe path that's different, so that they feel very comfortable and safe in trying within their own limits. And that's the container I create, right? So I really take that queen thing to heart, and I'm grooming my daughter. Like a future queen, people need to trust you. You need to be able to get things done. They need to know you'll protect them. They also need to know that you have firm boundaries and you're not letting anyone take over what the goal is, right? And so, that's me and my queen embodiment. That's what I bring. That's who I am. I don't even care. I don't care if it's your party. I'm going to bring that energy and people recognize it. That's high value to me. And I hope it just gives a little context that you can't go around saying you're the prize, but you're still a young girl. You're still a young girl because you're emotional. And it's okay for you to have emotion, but emotional control, emotional intelligence, determine why you're mad or sad. And then make sure, you're around the right people. And you've cut off people you shouldn't, but you've kept the ones who are worth it. That when you are mad, sad, or emotional, you know that you can calmly, after you think about it, and rationally tell them exactly what you need and trust that they're going to do it and not tell them exactly how to do it. Let go of control, which is also, control is a wounded feminine. Acceptance and flow is not. And know that they're going to do it because you've chose the right people to be around you. All of this goes into just a very beautiful energy that you create because you know that people that you've kept around, that you've allowed in your life, because allowing is feminine energy. So you either allowed them in or you're not. So if you're allowing the good people in and cutting off the bads because you're not scared of being alone, you're allowing the great people in, you know that you can trust them. You don't have to be reactionary. You don't have to be emotional, right? Now, if you're allowing horrible people in your life who do not have, and they're not horrible, they just don't have the capacity to take you as you are, you're allowing that. And so then you don't have a safe place to tell people what you need. You don't have a safe place. That's you being very, like, as a prize, you're not a high prize because you're sort of allowing, disreputable people at your table, whereas my table, I'm sorry, you gotta come correct. Not everyone gets a seat. There are place settings. There are names on my seat. On my table, the table I am, there are place settings. Okay? And if you're not on the place settings, the butler will escort you out. Some people, y'all allow anyone and everyone at the public park to sit on you. Okay? To sit at your table. It just is what it is. And so so we're different types of table, but what kind of table are you, right? And we're different type of prizes. What kind of prizes? Are you like a very basic prize, or are you a prize that's sort of sitting on top of the table? It has lights and streamers, beautiful ribbons around it. And so it just depends on what you allow, and that's part of feminine energy too. You're taking ownership of who you allow in your life. I only allow high integrity people with good work ethic in my life. So that means if you do something wrong, I know I don't have to get pissed off. I can simply tell you you're going to fix it. And I also know if I come to you and you're not a safe space and you disregard me, you're going to get cut. You are no longer allowed at the table. It is fluid. The invitations to this table are fluid, and you are never guaranteed a seat. It's some real queen shit that I want. You're not guaranteed to come. You might come to this function and sit at the table, but you might not be invited to the next function. And it is never, I have never taken for granted. That is the kind of person I am. But the thing is, because of that, all of this is it's sort of complex, but it's straightforward at the same time. It's complex because it's layered, right? Who do you allow? How much control are you trying to have of them? How much acceptance do you have? How discerning are you? Are you emotionally intelligent? So it doesn't matter who's at your table. You're going to react a certain way that brings them up, or you let them go because you're not scared of being alone. All of this goes into creating a value for you, what kind of table you are. And you get to determine what it is. You can be any type of table you want. You can be a farm table, but you're the farm table in an organic restaurant. So yeah, it gets a certain set that gets to go there and will sit at you, not just anyone at the public. Or you can be a public park. You have a bench park table. You can be like homeless people will sleep on you. Whatever, you get to choose. But I'm going to assert that's what makes me high value. This is why, and I say this with my how you're received, and you know what you get out of life. And all of this came from, like I said, I'm much more high value now than I was 10 years ago. That's the work I went to, the kind of table I created, right? We have table skate. We table skate over here. Like we change out the winter, and we put in different seasons, different things going on. Sometimes I'm by the window, and sometimes I'm going out for a picnic. But like I said, not just everyone's invited to my table. And I've always been like that. That is the key to a stress-free life. So I just wanted to give that perspective. We all are prized because we're people, but we're different types of prizes. We all are prizes because we're women, but we're different type of prizes. We all are the table, but we're different types of table. We allow different things at our table. And when you really get into your divine feminine energy, you start working up in your archetype from the maiden to the princess to the queen to goddess. Now, I haven't gotten to goddess yet, but you might allow everybody at the table as goddess. Right now, I'm queen, so you got to get an invite. And you're not guaranteed an invite to the next event either. If you mess up, go mess with someone else. There's always someone else to take the seat. It's different energy. But you also know that you bring that. So, I'm going to continue doing my thing where I work on my spiritual development from my guides, getting that higher perspective. So that higher perspective they give me, I give to other people just naturally. But also, when you look at I just got Blinkist, which I really like it. I'm going to put a link to that, the affiliate link. I like Blinkist. So it's 15 to 30 minutes, and they take a whole book and they condense it to just this point. I love it because I don't need to read all this stuff. I'm really intuitive, so I can hear someone be like, yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah. And so it's really cool. So I have all these books on emotional intelligence and persuasion, which will help me in my business, just build my skill set up. And, so like constantly being built up in emotional intelligence, constantly being built up. I have a book on relationships. I'm not even married yet. I will be. But I'm listening to a book on communication and marriage. That is the kind of prize I am, right? It has nothing to do with how much we get me. And you get to choose what kind of prize you're going to be and just have fun doing it. But just understand it is 100% your table. It's 100% who you allow to be at the table. And and how people receive you and what makes them go, I really want to be around her again because I felt so good in her presence. That's that beautiful feminine energy that you can work at and develop. Like I said, some of you have it, some of you develop it. I developed it. No shame around that because I actually feel I'm really powerful because because I was so in my masculine energy. I know how to get shit done. I know how to build a business. I know how to make things happen. But now that I'm in my feminine and I know how to do that, I think that's the most powerful place to be able to flow in and out with success in either one as needed. That's versatility. That's a leader people can follow. They know you can get shit done and put the hammer and take people down if you need to. I can be really serious. Like, I am of the light, but if you do something wrong to me, I can take you all the way down. Like, there is no bottom that you will do it. I'll stay in the light when I do it, but I've seen it and I'm okay with it. So I can go low, I can be masculine, but for the most part, I like to stay in the feminine. And the interesting thing about it when it comes to men, they love the fact that like I could go from either or at a split second. Because like I'm being dead serious. I can go super blunt to back up to flirty to this or that. It's so interesting because they're just like, what the? I don't know what I'm gonna get each moment. Nor should they, right? That's another part that makes you a little bit more intriguing. Literally on a date, they're like, I literally get. So this is the interesting thing as a woman. I get, you're the most interesting woman I've ever met in my life. And that to a man, that's actually like why they like me, because they just don't know what they're going to get. They're going to get all of this. Every single aspect I told you, they're going to get all of it. And I'm not going to be shy about telling them, oh, that's not good enough. I'm sorry. Your kid's not mine. I'm so quick, but they love it because, A, if you're around me, you're going to get pushed to go, you're going to get pushed to be more elevated. You're either going to get pushed to be more elevated or I'm going to let you go. And they are very aware of that. They also know I don't play. And they know that I can be fun and playful, but they also can see, like, if I say something, I start following up, I'll ask you very direct questions. And I'm okay if you answer it in a way that makes me go, well, then you're not a match. They love it. I don't know. It's sort of interesting. They're really, they love it. They love it. They're like, I'm like, no, this is about me building, like, what I need to build. Like, are you going to help or you're not? But, like, we're not doing this BS. But, you know, all the time, they're really enjoying that time, that nurturing space, that lack of judgment, being able to calmly tell them what you need versus getting emotional and getting angry, which I used to do, but now I don't. So, yes, I hope that gave you a really nice overview and perspective to understand what I feel makes you high value. Of course, there's different things that makes you high value. You can post below what you feel makes you high value. We're all different, right? I am definitely moving towards a more elevated and elegant mode of being. And that's what I like, right? I grew up on historical romance novels. It's embedded in my DNA to, like, you know, climb and elevate in that way. And I like it. I just thought the lifestyle was so cool. I was like, yeah, this is it. But you might be different. It might be through spiritual. You might be different. It might be through your, you know, ability to provide health and services or healing, whatever it might be. We're all different, but just to, you know, there are prizes, there's different types of value, and that's just my take of what makes you high value, but I'm more than happy to hear yours. And all of this took work. I'm more high value today than I was 10 years ago. Kind of men I talked to today, I would not have been able to talk to. And the men I talked to today were like 4 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to talk to you because I wasn't in that new place. But I've done all my healing work and I'm here now. So that's a very cool thing to look back and see. Hope this is helpful and giving perspective, especially when it comes to feminine energy. None of it has to do with your assets. It's all about what kind of table environment do you serve, and do they want to be at my elegant table? The question is, some don't. Then the others, they absolutely want to sit at that elegant, nice table scape manner taste. So I'm like, yeah, I'm down with this. I got the money. This is, I want that more table, but I'm unequivocal on, like, not everyone gets a seat. And that makes you a valuable, high value woman and a high valuable table. So I hope you guys like that. All right. Take care. Bye.